Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, coming to you with another episode of my podcast, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. It's been a while since I've released an episode, about 5 months or so. I don't want to get into why it took me so long. I'm not really sure what was going on. Procrastinating, fear of pressing record, whatever. The time is gone, and here I am, fresh start. This is a music inspired episode, and in the last 5 months, I've seen quite a bit of music. I love doing these kind of episodes because I get to reminisce, reflect on, relive live music concerts that I've been to, and I also get to share that with all my fellow music lovers out there. Whether you are going to see some of the bands that I've seen, would like to see them, haven't seen them before, or just want to kind of live vicariously through my experiences. I appreciate that. It gives me purpose to share. And I like to give a review on who's really rocking it out and maybe who is not stepping up to the plate. There's one band in particular that I really felt didn't step up to the plate, but I'll get into that a little bit later. The first concert that I went to in February was JRAD. I've talked about them before. Joe Russo's Almost Dead. My brother and I went to see JRAD at DPAC, Durham Performing Arts Center, and that's in Durham, North Carolina. It was a venue that I had not been to before. I like to go try out new venues. This was an indoor venue, not necessarily my favorite. In the beginning of the concert, I didn't really think the sound was so great. The sound was really heavy on the bass and it was a little loud, and I don't want to say I'm too old because it's too loud, but that would really be my only kind of complaint about the evening, was that it was a little bit loud in the beginning, but I feel like they got it together and the rest of the show was fantastic. If you have not seen JRAD, they are a Grateful Dead tribute band of sorts. They're not like Dark Star where they play a specific show. They put their own twist on some of the music, but they are on fire. So if you love the Dead and you haven't seen JRAD yet, you need to get to see them. On fire, high energy, lots of interaction between the band members, specifically Marco Benevento, who plays the keyboards and in his own right has a very flourishing career playing the piano and such. Definitely go check them out. Marco is smiling continuously through his performances, which is really wonderful. It's a joy to see. So yeah, that started off and kind of kicked off the music season for me. I'll call it the spring music season, but it's really the winter into spring. Durham was also really cool for anyone who's thinking of checking out that area. There are a few record stores around there that the brother and I stopped in and checked out some stuff. Also went and had some dinner in Durham, and it's always really nice when I can turn the music event into a full event, which is dining included. And we went and had sushi at a dimly lit industrial chic space called M Sushi. Japanese Seafood Plus is the way they describe it. It was delicious. It was expensive. I'll give it that. It was down this neat little kind of alleyway. Expensive, pricey. But if you happen to be down there and you have the money to spend and you like sushi before the show, I definitely suggest checking them out. I'm also going to kind of touch on, eventually we did go see another show in Durham. We went to see Pussifer, and that is Maynard from Tool. That is one of his offshoots. And they were also fantastic. We went to see them at the same place, DPAC, Durham Performing Arts Center. And there's a gentleman who works at the facility. Be sure, if you happen to go, look for the guy with all the pins on his vest. He has seen a ton of shows, and he has the pins to prove it. Really friendly staff. I also want to say that about DPAC. Everybody was very friendly, very helpful, really glad to be there, it seemed. That's always a plus. It's kind of a bummer when you go someplace and the people really aren't happy about working there or don't seem too stoked on working there. That is not the vibe that I got from DPAC. So I look forward to seeing another show there for that reason when it comes to seeing an indoor show. After JRAD, I took a little adventure. I'll do another episode about this because I went to Florida to see Widespread Panic. That was March 20th through the 22nd. They played at St. Augustine Amphitheater, another venue that I had never been to. A friend and I actually went and spent a few days on Sanibel Island and then went to see Panic in St. Augustine and rambled around St. Augustine for a little bit as well. It was 3 days of fantastic music. It was a perfect time of year. The temperature was, in my opinion, pretty perfect. Not hot out. You didn't sweat at night. That's the way it is right now in Carolina. Hot and sweaty. It was lovely. Getting into the venue, a little challenging. Lines were really pretty long. We parked a little bit away from the venue, found some free parking. You just find a spot on one of the side streets. And then we walked in, maybe like a 15-minute walk to get to the venue. It was also really cool because then we just walked through the lot, did our lot shopping, got everything we wanted before. I really enjoyed the venue. We did not have great seats, which at first I kind of thought was a bummer. We were pretty far back, metal seating, not under the cover of anything. And it was actually really enjoyable. We had a really good view. The amphitheater is not huge, so I didn't feel miles away by any means. No nosebleed kind of stuff. A really good crowd, and we had the same seats for all 3 nights. We bought a 3-day pass, so that was really comfortable. We kind of knew where we were sitting. We knew what to expect, got familiar with the bathrooms, that kind of stuff. It was a wonderful 3 nights. Panic themselves, I thoroughly enjoyed their performance. I do not have set lists, but I feel like I heard all the stuff I wanted to hear. I love Going Out West. I heard Going Out West. It was a fabulous 3 days of live music. If you have not been to the St. Augustine Amphitheater, I highly suggest getting there. Also, just a plug for St. Augustine. I really enjoyed the historical aspect of the city. Once again, side note, get to Sanibel Island if you can, if you're into shelling at all. It was really fun. Music and shelling, two things that go very well together. And actually, I'm looking forward to it. I do have tickets to see Panic here in Wilmington. They're playing 2 nights in September, which is lovely. But one night I have tickets to see ZZ Top. And I can't not go see ZZ Top. So it'll be one night of Panic. March 25th, opening up one of my favorite venues, not just because I live here, Greenfield Lake Amphitheater here in Wilmington. It's a hidden gem. I almost hate to talk about it because I don't want people to start coming and buying all the tickets up. It is now and has been, I want to say, for a few years, a Live Nation venue. I'm not exactly sure when they bought it, if they've owned it all this time. And fortunately, it's not changed a whole lot. They have added kind of a neat, I think they call it the Gator Garden. They've added an area to kind of sit down and chill out, and they sell some t-shirts, have some booths every now and then. Sometimes they'll have somebody selling vinyl. They'll have a food truck. And they've started to sell some seats that are not general admission, seats that you actually have to pay extra for, which that is what it is as well. But I love Greenfield Lake Amphitheater for the fact that it is a general admission venue. Buy your tickets, see it anywhere you'd like. If you happen to get there early, you can get right on the stage, on the rail, as we like to say. The opening band this year were the infamous String Dusters. They are infamous. If you have not seen them and you are into bluegrass, they are really spectacular, really fun, very creative. It is very worthwhile going to see those guys. I think maybe the first time that I saw them was actually at the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. Maybe I saw one of them perform at an event in Vail, just a small event, which is really cool. The fiddle player, I'm sorry that I don't know their names, but they are definitely worth seeing. Fun. You're on your feet the whole time, dancing. Go see the String Dusters. I got to see them in New Orleans as well. They're well worth every penny that their ticket costs. And it was a really great way to open up the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater music series for me. After that, as I already kind of mentioned, we did go see Pussifer at DPAC. He had an opening. I won't call him a band. He did play, but his name was Dave Hill, and he was a comedian. And he was funny. He was loud. He was kind of vulgar. There was a lot of profanity, if I'm not mistaken. He did a lot of weird shit. He was riding his bike, and he had a lot of props. I know some people do have comedians ahead of time. It was not what I was expecting. But he was good and he was funny, and I definitely laughed. The show itself, very theatrical, kind of choreographed, which is not what I was expecting from a Maynard performance. I didn't really know what to expect. It was definitely pretty cool because, as I've heard from a lot of other people, you are not allowed to take pictures. They definitely heavily push put your phone away. It's time to put your phone away. And the beautiful thing is that people really adhered to that. So no phones up. You were actually really immersed in the music. It's been a while since I've been to an event like that where I didn't have to worry about somebody else putting their phone up in front of me. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then the beauty was at the end, they actually let you take your phones out for the last two songs and record to your heart's content. And what was also really cool was that they let us change our seats. There was kind of an open section up to the left, and there was really nobody sitting up there. So the brother and I moved over. I will say people were not standing up or dancing. What some people won't think is dance music, I really like to stand up. I like to be able to stand up and move my arms, close my eyes, lean back. And I'm kind of bummed when I go to events where people are not standing up or not dancing. And I can do a dance in your seat concert for a little while, but I really prefer to be up moving. And so that's what we did. We moved over to the other section, finished up the end of the night in those seats, and it just topped off the evening. We did eat at a place in Durham again. This place was called Dashi. It was a ramen space. At least that's how they marketed it. But it was delicious. We got there for happy hour and the ramen was spectacular. I think my brother might have had some oysters ahead of time. I can't exactly remember all of what I had, but yeah, I'm going to suggest that if you happen to be going to DPAC. The price was moderate, a lot different than the sushi place that I had mentioned going to before. It was early, happy hour as I mentioned, so there weren't a lot of people in there. And it was delicious. So music, ramen, and Pussifer went over really well for me. April 16th, I went to see Spafford. We have a local venue here called the Bowstring Brew Yard. I had not seen Spafford before. For anyone who's listened to me before, y'all know I'm in recovery, been on the journey of recovery and self-discovery for a while now. And one of the bonuses is that a lot of the jam bands actually have a sober table. It's always inside the venue, but it's usually set up in kind of a discreetish area. And then at set break, they have a meeting. They did have it at Panic. The Gateway is the sober following for Widespread Panic. I cannot remember what's the name of Spafford's following is. I need to get better on that. But what I did do was I decided to chair the sober table for Spafford. I got to check out a band I was not familiar with, and I brought a friend along who hadn't been to a show since he got sober, which was really pretty amazing. Spafford, I really thought they were great. I had started listening to them a little bit on Spotify, so I knew a little bit of their stuff. They do instrumental, they do have lyrics. I'd say they lean more in the instrumental direction. It was enjoyable, and I want to give some props to Bowstring. I've been to the venue a few times for some different music and have honestly not been a fan of the sound. I don't know if it's the high ceilings. I'm not really sure what it was. I have found it's been kind of a strange space. Well, they've done something because the inside sound was much better. The location that we were in was really good. It was a good crowd. So for anyone who is looking to check out some new jammy music, I'd say Spafford is a win. Go support them. Support some live music. The next concert that I went to was once again at Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. This was on May 3rd, and this performer was someone that my brother kind of introduced me to. He's been listening to her for years. I've listened to her stuff as well. I'm an 80s, 90s gal, and she really was the original badass babe of the music world, Ani DeFranco. I was so excited when I heard she was coming to play at Greenfield Lake. We decided to get there early and get on the rail for her. She did not disappoint. Spitfire, lots of energy, a great message, was not shy about offering her opinion. So if you're going to see her, to be expected. She really was great, strumming on her guitar, very authentic, powerful, and enjoyable. heartfelt. I was moved. I think everybody in the crowd was moved. She finished off the show with 32 flavors. It was a performance, I'll say, not to be missed. I would go see her again if she came around as well. She had an opening act, Valerie June, I think was her name. Also impressive because she performed by herself the whole time. I really would like to listen to some of her stuff recorded because admittedly, sometimes the lyrics can be really hard to understand. That was the downside of Valerie, not to pick on her because I could tell that her lyrics were also meaningful, heartfelt. I'm pretty sure she's singer-songwriter and is writing all of her stuff and was a bit of a storyteller as well. Gave some history behind what she was singing about. But Ani, go see her if she comes around to wherever you are in the world. Support her for sure. On the 17th of May, I had initially been thinking I was going to go see Dark Star Orchestra. They were coming to play at Greenfield Lake Amphitheater again as well. And I was going to man the sober table for this one. I was really excited about it. The Wharf Rats are like the original sober fellowship in the music world. And I was excited to see them. Dark Star Orchestra is a Grateful Dead tribute band as well, for anyone who doesn't know. They perform a particular concert to the note or something like that. But something happened a couple days before the show, and they decided they weren't going to have the sober table anymore. Fast forwarding, they have since began the sober table process again, which is really important. That's a whole different topic. But that night, since I didn't have a ticket, I decided to go with my dad to see Earth, Wind, and Fire. And my dad is a Vietnam vet. He's also a music lover. I think the last time he went to see Earth, Wind, and Fire, him and my mom went a long time ago in Virginia, and my mom got sick, so they didn't get to see the show, and I feel like he's been talking about it for years. And when he initially asked me if I wanted to go see it, I said, well, I've already got tickets to go see Dark Star Orchestra. When they canceled, I said, okay, let's go see Earth, Wind, and Fire. He is a disabled vet, so the cool thing is he gets the ADA seating. And for anyone who is eligible for ADA seating, I highly suggest using it if you haven't used it. Generally, I think the way it works is you buy your ticket, and then when you get to the event, you let them know that you'd like an ADA seat, and if they are available, they'll give you one. You can also buy specific ADA seating. But the beauty is, it was to the side of the stage, and you just get the pull-out chairs. There's spacing. There's plenty of room. There's not a whole lot of standing up if you want to stand up, because obviously everybody can't stand up. But it was great. It was really great. There was nobody in front of me. The sound was great. It was well worth the price considering Dad paid. Earth, Wind, and Fire did not disappoint. I'm used to seeing live shows where they play a first set, they have an intermission, they play a second set. I was not expecting that at this concert, but they played for an hour and a half. They played everything you wanted to hear. Philip Bailey, with his soprano, hit quite a few of those high notes. He did a great job. The whole stage was filled with musicians, horns and guitars and drums and percussion. It was a lot of fun. If they're coming to your part of the world and you love music, I would say go see them before they are not around to be seen anymore. It was really an enjoyable evening, to say the least. After that, I was super excited about this band, Toy Factory Project. Now, admittedly, I didn't really know that I knew so much of the Marshall Tucker Band. So Toy Factory Project is a newer incarnation of the Marshall Tucker Band, sort of. They have the original drummer, and then there's a bunch of musicians who are playing the music of the Marshall Tucker Band. Toy is the name of the original songwriter, one of the original members also. He's no longer with us here, playing in the great band in the sky. But when I heard about them, there's Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke, Marcus King, who's a young, incredible guitar player, as I've learned now, Oteil Burbridge from Dead and Company, Allman Brothers, and I apologize that I don't know the rest of the guys' names. They had a piano player, keyboard player, who's also pretty well known, young guy, was fantastic, another smiling, really intense dude. And then they had the original drummer, And once again, kind of embarrassing that I don't know everybody's name. I love live music, but I don't always ever remember anybody's name. But the original guy playing the drums, and he smiled the whole time. I think he was so excited to be really putting out an incredible amount of music. You know, Marshall Tucker, you will know their music for sure. Go see them. If they come to town, go see them. They are not to be missed. And I don't know how long they're actually going to be touring together. This is not a permanent thing for anybody. But there was kind of a special deal. You know, they played two Grateful Dead songs. One night they played Fire on the Mountain, and the other night they played Franklin's Tower. That was super special for all of us Deadheads. I never really expected to get O'Teal at the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. Blackberry Smoke is playing. Government Mule plays there a lot. String Cheese Incident. Humphreys McGee is coming to play. We get all those bands. But O'Teal's on just a little bit of a different level. And so I was definitely on the rail for that one. And it was so good that I went the second night as well. They do admittedly play a similar set list, not everything in order. So if you happen to go see them 2 nights in a row, you're going to hear a lot of the same stuff. But they were so good. I couldn't think of not going. I mean, they also seem incredibly practiced. They had a lot of fun on stage. And man, oh man, Marcus King. I really had no idea. That kid can rock it out on the guitar. He's been playing the guitar for a while now. He is somebody to be seen and definitely will continue to make his mark in the music world. So yeah, Toy Factory Project. Go see them for sure. The next band, I had heard about these guys for a long time. This was May 22nd. Once again, Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. Super excited about everything that comes here. I had been hearing about them. People had been talking about them. I have listened to plenty of their music live. Everybody said, go see Mo. Mo! And I was excited when I heard they were coming to Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. I said, oh my goodness, they've never been here, haven't been here in the 5 years that I've been here. I was super stoked. My brother and I went. He is my musical companion for the most part. Our parents definitely brought us up listening to music, and we both have a love, love, love for live music. And he too was really super stoked on these guys coming. I don't know what happened, but to me, they did not bring it. People are probably going to hate me for this, but it was one of the most disappointing performances that I've seen. There was zero energy. They didn't seem practiced. They seemed kind of sloppy. It was very unexciting, and we almost left early, and that does not happen for us. That is the mortal sin of a music fan, in my opinion. I don't leave before the encore. I don't try and get out to beat the traffic. I stay until the end, maybe try and get a set list or a drumstick or a guitar pick or something. That was another thing for Toy Factory Project. Sam Bush played, and I ended up getting a mandolin pick from him. That was a really special edition because he's not normally traveling with the band. And if you haven't seen Sam Bush, he's a strings dude, definitely worth seeing. So I like to usually stick around, but Mo, I was ready to leave. I will say I am going to give them another shot somewhere, sometime. Cosmic Country, Daniel Donato played at a little place in New Orleans when I was there. And one of the guitar players from Mo played with him. And I thought it was great. But I think Daniel Donato really brought the energy. I mean, he is Cosmic Country and very upbeat. I gotta say, sorry guys, not that they're listening to this episode, for all of y'all who hate me for putting down Mo, but I don't know what to say about the rest of their summer tour. I hope whoever gets to see them sees them at their better or whatever, but unfortunately, that's not how I felt. So I'm so grateful for the band that I actually saw just the other night, who I'll get to, who will finish off the series. But after Mo, I went for a band that was in the 80s, classic 80s British band. I was excited when I saw that these guys were coming too. I did not necessarily listen to them back in the day that they were really popular, but I knew that they would be worth seeing. At least that's how I felt about it. And I knew one of their songs well enough that I was looking forward to hearing that song. Who did I see on June 1st? Echo and the Bunnymen. In my opinion, they did not disappoint either. I think there's two original members, really, the lead singer and one of the guitarists. But the band themselves, they were great. They came on, and here we are in hot North Carolina. I think everyone was dressed in black, and the lead singer had on Ian McCulloch, I think is his name, and he had on a black like trench coat and sunglasses. And I thought, he's got to be hot up there. But he came out and impressively began the performance on point. His voice sounded great. He was talking. He was funny. And I will say though, and I'm just being honest here, but as the evening went on, there was more talking, less singing, and I kind of think he'd been drinking. So his accent was very heavy. It was hard to understand some of the stuff he was saying. I definitely laughed a fair amount. It was a sold out show. They played pretty much everything that the crowd wanted to hear. People sang along, they knew the lyrics. I did not know everything, but it was a really good energy with the crowd. They were happy to be there. I felt as though they were happy with their performance. So even with the more conversational stuff coming from Ian and the drinky coming into play, I enjoyed and am glad that I went to see the performance, especially at the end when they played Lips Like Sugar, Sugar Kisses. Everybody sang along, and it was a really great way to finish off the end of the night. And it was actually cool because their opening band was the Benny Hill Trio. And at first, I thought to myself, I was like, oh, how fitting, the Benny Hill Trio. For anyone who knows English comedy, well, Benny Hill was from back then, right around the time probably that Echo and those guys were hitting it big. There was a kid who was filming the concert, and he said, oh, I'm here to film the opening band. And I said, oh, who is it? And he said, the Benny Hill Trio. And this was a young kid. I was like, do you know who Benny Hill is? Ends up it was not a cover band about Benny Hill. We have a local guy here named Benny Hill in Wilmington, and he plays the saxophone, and he's fantastic. And that is who it was. So I love that. Actually, I was very pleasantly surprised. If you get to see Benny Hill, a saxophonist, the band, it was just him, a drummer, and a bass guitarist. They were fantastic. They played Smells Like Teen Spirit, Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was a really neat instrumental beginning to the evening. Jazzy versions of popular pop songs, newer rock and roll stuff. I really, really, really enjoyed them and look forward to seeing Benny Hill again. Anyone who's local to the Wilmington area, I believe he plays a lot around here, and I think teaches at one of the colleges and is really big in the local music scene. I enjoyed the band. Finishing off the spring music series for me, I saw them when I first moved to town. I had never heard of them. I didn't know anything about them. They're called Big Something. I've seen them a few times since then. They are fantastic. They have fantastic energy. If you have not seen Big Something, I think they put on like a festival called The Big What, and they have a huge following local here up and down the East Coast. I told them, I said, please go play at the Dillon Amphitheater, or they'd be great at Red Rocks. I don't know that they have a big enough following out west, but they are worth seeing. If you live anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world that they happen to be coming, go see them. Nick is the lead singer. He is also always smiling. He's jumping around on stage. He brings the energy. You can tell he loves to perform, and that is something that I want to see when I'm at a concert. I'm there to have a great time. I love music. I understand everyone has their off days, and they're people just like us. They're going through whatever they're going through. But this band, in my opinion, always brings it. Casey is the saxophone player, and he also plays an instrument called the iwi. It has this really spacey alien type sound to it. They really bring like a cyberspacey feel to their music, but they also have a reggae sound and a rock and roll sound. They have a great guitar player, a great drummer, bass player, keyboardist. They are absolutely worth seeing. And it rained. The concert was sold out and nobody left, at least for the first half. I mean, it rained. It didn't pour. It definitely drizzled and then rained a little heavier, but we all stuck it out. The band didn't stop playing. Fortunately, there was no lightning. That's the only time the bands have to stop playing, is if there's lightning in the area. It was wonderful. It was a feel-good kickoff, and it was fucking hot. I will say it is hot right now in Carolina, hot and humid. And the fact that they continue to rock it out on stage, did not leave early, they did not disappoint. I had a great evening. Thank you to Big Something. And opening band for them, they had two bands, Jacuzzi, who I did not see. We didn't get there in time, but we saw Kendall Street Company. I hadn't seen them before. I think my brother has seen them. They play a lot around here also. They were so fun, very upbeat. They did a little skit side where they have an offshoot of their band called Sauerkraut. They were really animated and lively and had a really fun spirit about them. That's when I just love music. When you can see a band that is playing, first of all, their own music. That's the beauty of also Big Something. They play a ton of their own music. They have plenty of albums out. I will say at the end of the night, they closed with, Nick came out and sang Black Hole Sun solo. Really impressive, very moving. Who doesn't love Chris Cornell? A brave move to come out and do something like that. And then they finished with Burning Down the House. They definitely play their covers, but they have a song called Megalodon that I just love. Love Generator is another one of their songs. You can find them on Spotify for sure. Super duper fun. I'm so grateful that they finished off the spring series for me, and they've got me pumped for going into the summer series. Whew, I have said a lot. The New Yorker in me has been talking and jabbering. Man, it's been really fun to reflect on what it's been like as far as music goes. I'm excited about what's to come. We have tickets to see Humphreys McGee at Greenfield Lake Amphitheater, for Fish at Walnut Creek in Raleigh, and then Keller Williams is playing a late night show, which is pretty exciting. After Fish, maybe some of those guys will come and play. Oh, I do have to say, I worked yesterday, and I just work at this local restaurant bar. The bar has live music, and every Sunday they have Dead on the Deck. So a band comes in and they get all kind of Grateful Dead cover bands. And as I was walking out into the parking lot after my shift to go home, Casey, the saxophone player from Big Something, and the iwi player, he was out. Him and his friend had pulled up to just come and listen to some music, and it was cool to see the local celebrity and have a little bit of a conversation. He was very nice, very friendly. I did tell him to go play at the Dillon Amphitheater if they get out to Colorado. So if anyone from Colorado is listening, please support Big Something. You won't be disappointed by any means. I do know I have tickets to see Dog Star, Keanu's band. They're playing at the Ritz in Raleigh. That's exciting. I love Keanu, but I'm pretty stoked on seeing his band. He plays the bass. So go out and see live music. If you used to be a music fan and haven't been to a concert in a while, buy the ticket. It's worth it. Remember, we're just spinning around on a pile of dirt in the middle of the universe. At one point, we're all going to leave the planet. Don't miss out on the ticket. Don't miss out on the concert. Go see it. And at the very least, put something on your Spotify playlist. Turn the radio on. Put your records on. Whatever it is. Music is medicine. Whether it's Mozart, Metallica, or Big Something. Go see it, every genre. Whatever you love, turn it up loud. As always, thanks for listening. Bye for now.